Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our virtual public meeting for State Road 5 Overseas Highway from mile marker 31.4 to 32.5 to 30 mile marker 32.98 and to 36.57. This is a roadway improvement project. We're going to give about a minute or two as folks are making their way through here. They advertised to 5:30 p.m., but let's just give them a few minutes to come in as people are coming in little by little. We will get started in just a few minutes here with our presentation. In the meantime, I'd like to just give you some house rules here. You'll be able to provide some comments and questions. You can do so by submitting it on the question box located on your control panel, or you can also chime in during the questions and answer portion. We will be opening up the microphones. All you have to simply do is just click on your virtual raise your hand button, and we will open up the microphones there. So those are two ways that you can go ahead and send in your comments or questions. Again, we're about to start here in just a few. Let's give it 1 minute as more folks are coming in, and we will get started with our presentation for today. And in just a few, I'll also put up the link where you can obtain tonight's presentation. It's available right now as we speak. We'll also put up a QR code where you can simply just grab your phone, open up the camera, and scan it on your screen, and it'll take you right to the project page where you can download the presentation. With me here. Let's get started here. Right before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge any elected official. If we have any elected officials joining us this evening, please click on your virtual raise your hand button so we can acknowledge you here. Okay, moving forward, we don't have anyone. So once again, thank you again for joining us for a public meeting. If you experience any technical difficulties throughout the public meeting here tonight, you can contact Miranda Brito at 786-537-3363 or by email at miranda@iscprgroup.com so she can assist you. I'd like to go through the agenda tonight. We'll start off with the rules of engagement. We'll introduce you our projects team. There are two projects this evening they will be showing. The non-discrimination policy, where the project is located, where the project's schedule and cost, the scope of work, what to expect, our maintenance of traffic, and then we will conclude with the questions and answers portion. Attendees will remain muted throughout the meeting except for the open discussion session. Use the raise your hand button on your GoToWebinar panel to provide a comment. Provide full name first, address, and comment. Attendees are welcome to submit questions, comments using the GoToWebinar question panel, and a member of the team will respond during the open discussion. Participants will have 3 minutes to ask questions and provide comments. Just a friendly reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be available on our project page or via our registration link, and you can see the entire meeting. The meeting will begin with a presentation followed by the comments and questions comments and questions portion. If you're calling in via phone, you will not be able to provide any comments. Therefore, you can contact Miranda Brito at the number that you see on your screen, or you can shoot her an email at miranda@iscprgroup.com. As I mentioned earlier, you can obtain the presentation that we're showing right now. I'm going to give you a few seconds here so you can grab your cell phones and you can scan the QR code right there on your screen, or you can just simply use the link that you see on your screen as well. But I'll give you just here a few seconds if you guys want to grab your phones or cell phones, open up the camera and scan the QR code. And also, we will be here until 7 p.m. Again, I'll put the QR code towards the end as well so you guys can obtain it in case you missed it. I'd like to read our non-discrimination policy over here. The Florida Department of Transportation is required to comply with various non-discrimination laws and regulations, including Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Public participation at this meeting is solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express their concerns about Title VI may do so by contacting our District 6 Title Coordinator, Mr. Nicholas Nanu, at the number that you see on your screen, 305-470-5219, or in writing, FDOT 1000, Northwest 111th Avenue, Miami, Florida 33172, or by email nicholas.danu@dot.state.fl.us. Also, you can reach our state Title VI coordinator, Ms. Jacqueline Paramore, at 850-414-4753, or in writing at the Equal Opportunity Office. The address is located right there on your screen, 605 Sewanee Street, MS 65, Tallahassee, Florida 32399, or by email jacqueline.paramore@dot.state.fl.us. As I mentioned earlier, we have two projects that we will be going over and presenting plans for. The first project is located on the West Summerland Key and Scout Key area, and the team there is our project manager, Ms. Fabiana Gonzalez Batista, and the project manager, Mr. Hans Rivik. Also joining him, the engineer record, Mr. Mahir Malik. I am the community outreach specialist for both of these projects. I am Rodolfo Roman. And then on the other project, which is located on Big Pine Key, Ms. Fabiana Gonzalez Batista is also the project manager. The project consultant project manager for that project, Mr. Raymond Valido. And then also joining us this evening, we have our folks from our District 6 Environmental Department. We have Mr. Stephen Craig James and Ms. Amanda DeCruz. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome and give the floor to Mr. Hans, who will be talking about the first project, which is located on West Summerland Key and Scout Key. Hans?
Thank you very much, Rodolfo. As Rodolfo mentioned, this project is along State Road 5, overseas highway from mile marker 32.98 to mile marker 36.57, and is located within West Summerland Key and Scout Key. The project length is 3.4 miles and is composed by 1.9 miles of bridge section and 1.5 miles of roadway section. The Florida Department of Transportation has a duty to prolong the lifespan of the pavement and provide a safe sidewalk path and accessibility for the public. For this reason, the department is performing a resurfacing, restoration, and rehabilitation project. This project is within Monroe County. As you can see in this slide, it shows a project schedule and the cost. The production date for the plans is scheduled for September 2021. The letting date is scheduled for February 2022. The construction start is scheduled for June 2022, and it will last 1 year. As a result, the construction will end on June 2023. And the total construction cost is $3.6 million. As of today, the project is currently at 90% design phase, and we are working closely with the municipalities as well as with FDEP for the Florida Keys trail, the Heritage Trail, and we're open to receive any feedback from the public. In regards to the scope, the project scope includes the milling and resurfacing of the existing corridor. We're also going to be upgrading substandard pedestrian ramps and crosswalk markings at mid-block crossings at the boat ramp entrance, which is just east of the Spanish Harbor Channel. We're going to be upgrading substandard guardrail. We'll be restoring eroded roadside areas and shoulder drop-offs. We'll be installing pedestrian bicycle bullet railing at the bridge segments. And finally, we'll be upgrading pavement markings and substandard signs as per current standards. What to expect? Well, first of all, there are going to be lane closures. The lane closures are only going to be occurring during non-peak hours and on non-event days, nights, and weekends. The non-peak hours are for the 4-lane sections between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, and between 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Sunday through Thursday. The non-peak hours for the 2-lane section are 9:30 p.m. to 5 a.m. Sunday through Thursday. We're also going to maintain access throughout construction to all the adjacent properties. What to expect during construction? Bicyclists are going to keep using the Florida Keys Overseas Heritage Trail, as well as pedestrians. The contractor is going to be required to water and sweep the road and the surroundings in order to minimize construction-related dust. And in regards to noise, some noise should be expected during daytime hours. In regards to the maintenance of traffic or MOT, as I mentioned before, we're going to have some temporary lane closures during off-peak hours. Within the 2 lane segments, the traffic is going to be confined to 1 traffic lane, which will require flagging operations. And the Florida Keys Overseas Heritage Trail will be open during repaving and restriping operations. We do not anticipate any detour within the project limits. And in regards to the speed, this segment has 2 speed limits. The regulatory speed is going to be reduced as follows. For the 55 miles per hour posted speed segment, it's going to be reduced to 45 miles per hour during construction activities. And for the 45 miles per hour posted speed segment, the speed limit will be reduced to 35 miles per hour. Okay, in this slide, this is a plan view of the proposed improvements. We have divided the project in segments to fit them into the slides. This slide shows the improvements from mile marker 32.98 at bridge number 9000106, which is over the Spanish Harbor Channel, to mile marker 34.16. As depicted on the top and mid panels, bicycle pedestrian bullet railing is going to be installed along both sides of the bridge, and the signage and pavement markings will be upgraded to current standards. The bottom panel shows that roadway improvements are going to take place at the approaches of the Spanish Harbor wayside, which includes the milling and resurfacing of the pavement and shoulder, the guardrail upgrades, the restoration of eroded side slope, as well as the signing and pavement marking upgrades. Next slide, please. Okay, in this second slide, it shows a segment between mile marker 34.16 to mile marker 35.31. The improvements within this slide consist of milling and resurfacing, guardrail upgrades, restoration of eroded side slopes, as well as signing and pavement marking upgrades. The middle and bottom panels show how the road transitions from the 2-lane to a 4-lane segment, and then connects at mile marker 35.22 to bridges 9000016 and 9000045, which both bridges are parallel and run over the Bahia Honda Channel. In this slide, we can observe the segment between mile marker 35.31 to mile marker 36.57, which shows again the extension of bridges 9000016 and 9000045, which run over the Bahia Honda Channel. Similar to the first bridge, bicycle and pedestrian bullet railing will be installed, but this time it's only going to be installed along the right side of each bridge. In addition, the signage and pavement markings are going to be also upgraded to current standard. The project ends at mile marker 36.57, where the dual bridges end. And this last slide shows, on the left-hand side, you can see the picture of the before the improvements. And on the right-hand side, you can see a rendering of how it's going to look after the improvements take place. With this, I'm done with the first project, and now Raymond Valido will present the second segment. Thank you.
Thank you, Hans. Ray will talk about the upcoming project. This one is located in Big Pine Key. Ray, you're muted. Can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. You're good.
I apologize about that. Thank you, Rodolfo, and thank you, Hans. As Rodolfo mentioned, this is the second design contract, which is within Big Pine Key. It's also within, it's also a triple R project. It's between mile marker 31.4 and mile marker 32.5. And the primary intent is similar to the previous project, which would be a resurfacing project. The project limits are highlighted in the magenta color on the previous screen. Next slide. What you'll see on this particular slide is a schedule, and you'll see a lot of similarities between this particular project schedule and the previous project schedule. And that's primarily as a result to the fact that, yes, these are two separate projects, but ultimately they will be constructed at the same time. This particular project has a production schedule of September 2021 with a letting date of February 2022. Construction is anticipated to start June 2022. The construction duration is estimated at 1 year, which would put construction end at June 2023. The estimated construction cost for this particular project is 1.8 million. Similar to the previous project, this project is currently in the 90% design phase, and we're working with municipalities to review the plans. And we're also here today to receive feedback from the public. We're working to transition this project from its current design phase and hand off in the future to the construction team. Next slide. The project scope for the project in Big Pine Key, primarily we're going to be repaving and restriping the roadway. In addition to that, we're going to be repaving the shoulder at miscellaneous locations. We're going to be restoring the unpaved shoulder to address some shoulder erosion issues along the corridor. We're also going to be replacing the existing bridge joints at 2 bridges along the project limits. We're adding pedestrian and bicycle railings at locations with traffic railings, which also correspond to the location of those 2 bridges on the previous bullet point. We're upgrading all signing and pavement marking. Unique to this particular triple R is that we are going to be modifying the key deer grate. We're going to be modifying the grates along the shoulder at mile marker 31.4 to eliminate the longitudinal joint along the shoulder. In addition, we're going to be modifying the key deer grate at mile marker 31.8 to increase the separation from the travel lane to the key deer grate. At the key deer grate at mile marker 31.4, we will be replacing the adjacent fence as a result of construction impacts that are anticipated. Next slide. We understand the importance of the Florida key deer and the sensitivity of the Florida key deer within the Florida Keys. As such, we wanted to further elaborate on some of the key deer grade improvements that we have. Next slide. The first key deer grade that we're going to talk about is the one at mile marker 31.4. In order to get our bearings, the picture on the screen, we're looking in the southbound direction. Top left of your screen, you see St. Peter's Church, which is a building with a green roof. Important in this particular location as well is that we have the Florida Keys Over Siege Heritage Trail along the shoulders on both sides of the roadway. Since we are coming off of a bridge, the Florida Keys Trail leads it travels through the existing shoulder. With relation to the existing key deer grate, the key deer grates are comprised of steel panels that sit on top of a structural vault. These steel panels are represented by the red lines, those red rectangles on the screen. The interface between these particular rectangles, which would be the panels, are joints. Our scope included analyzing the existing longitudinal joints, and the longitudinal joints are those red lines that are parallel to the travel lane. They'd run in the same direction as the travel lane. We were scoped with analyzing the existing longitudinal joints along the shoulder to see if we can improve the path for both bicyclists and pedestrians. Next slide. As such, our proposed design goes ahead and actually eliminates the longitudinal joints along the shoulder. I bring your attention to the new green shapes on the screen. If you recall the previous slide, now we have one large green rectangle. Before, those green rectangles used to be comprised of 3 individual panels. Our proposed design goes ahead and removes those panels and replaces it with a larger panel. By replacing it with a larger panel with same dimensions as the previous ones from hole opening size, we've been able to go ahead and eliminate the longitudinal joints along the shoulder. Now we no longer have those parallel joints running along the shoulder, which should improve the walkability and access for both bicyclists and pedestrians. Next slide. The next key deer grate that we have is a key deer grate at mile marker 31.8. This particular key deer grate serves a private driveway. The private driveway is off to the right of the screen. What's important in this particular existing condition, and what I want to bring your attention to, is we're looking in the southbound direction. We're standing on the Florida Keys Over Siege Heritage Trail. So folks who are walking through the Florida Keys Over Siege Heritage Trail currently have to walk over these panels and grates, whether it's a bicyclist or a pedestrian. The current offset from the travel lane, which is represented on the left of the screen by that black line, to the existing panels is 3 feet. Our scope included looking at increasing that separation from the travel lane to the panels within the existing right-of-way. Next slide. What we're proposing with this particular project is, in essence, we're shifting the whole entire grate away from the roadway towards the right-of-way line. Working from left to right, you can see that we've increased the separation from the travel lane to the first panel by 12.5 feet. So now bicyclists and pedestrians can either walk over the panels or they can choose to walk over that 12.5 feet. In that orange shape that you see on the screen, that used to represent steel panels with openings so that the key deer couldn't cross. What we're doing is we're removing those panels, filling that area, and placing concrete sidewalk over it, so it becomes a flat walking surface for both pedestrians and bicyclists. In essence, we're taking those panels and we're shifting it to the back of the key deer grates, which is represented by the green lines and the gray shape. So we're widening the existing key deer grate panels towards the right-of-way, and we're maintaining the same dimensions that we previously had. So overall dimensions of the key deer grate will remain the same. It's all just shifted away from the travel lane. We do have miscellaneous impacts to those existing fences. As a result, we do anticipate that construction of these particular panels and the vaults below it will impact some of the fence. So we will replace the fence in kind to serve this particular panel. Next slide. What to expect during construction. Lane closures will occur during non-peak hours on non-event days, nights, and weekends. Non-peak hours are 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Sunday through Thursday nights. Access to businesses will remain. Next slide. What to expect during construction. With relation to both bicycle and pedestrians, as I mentioned, the Florida Keys Overseas Heritage Trail travels along both sides of the roadway through Big Pine Key. We have a path on both the southbound and the northbound direction. We do anticipate that there's going to be impacts to that particular trail from a construction standpoint that may require one side of the path to be closed at a certain time. However, both sides of the path will not be closed at the same time, and detours for both bicyclists and pedestrians will be clearly marked during construction. The contractor will be required to water and sweep to minimize construction-related dust. Some noise should be expected during daytime hours. Next slide. From the maintenance of traffic standpoints, we will have temporary lane closures. Construction activities that impact or are adjacent to the travel lane will require traffic to temporarily be confined to one traffic lane with the use of a flagging operation. The shared use path, as previously mentioned, may be closed during construction activities that are adjacent to or activities that directly impact the path. However, alternate detours for the shared use path will be provided. No vehicular detours are anticipated for this particular project. Next slide. Key deer safety measures. We understand the sensitivity and the importance of key deers. As such, to talk about the maintenance of traffic at the key deer grade at mile marker 31.8, the two travel lanes will be maintained at all times during the key deer construction at this particular location. We're doing so by shifting the travel lanes away from the key deer grade and providing temporary barrier wall to shield the work area. In addition, temporary fencing will be placed at the key deer gate construction at mile marker 31.8 during construction to avoid the key deers, from coming onto the roadway. Regulatory speed will be maintained at 45 miles per hour during the day and 35 miles per hour during the night. Next slide. So to walk through the road plot, if we can zoom into the top pane, this would be the beginning of the project. That green building there that you see where the cursor is at, that's St. Peter's Church. In this particular area, we begin our project and we begin shoulder paving in the northbound direction. We're going to be providing an 8-foot paved shoulder in front of St. Peter's Church. I bring your attention to key deer grate number 1, which is represented by that label and those orange lines. This is a location where we're replacing the panels on the shoulder, eliminating the longitudinal joints. If we continue towards the right in the northbound direction, we begin our milling or resurfacing directly after key deer grate number 1. Then you see bridge number 900137. At bridge 900137, we're replacing the existing expansion joints and placing bicycle pedestrian bullet railing. Continuing, we have milling or resurfacing. Now in the second pane, working our way all the way to the left of the second pane, we continue the milling and resurfacing operations, and then we pass Beach Drive and we get to key deer grate number 2, which is at mile marker 31.8. That services a private driveway. This is a key deer grate that we are, in essence, shifting away from the roadway towards the right-of-way. And you can see that the key deer grate will remain within DOT right-of-way. We continue towards the right and we maintain and continue the milling and resurfacing and shoulder erosion corrections throughout the corridor. If we go to the bottom pane, the third pane all the way at the left, you'll see that we continue the milling and resurfacing, and we ultimately get to bridge number 900138. Bridge 900138 has identical scope to the previous bridge that we spoke about, which would be the placement of expansion joints, replacement of expansion joints, and placement of bicycle pedestrian bullet railing. We continue the milling and resurfacing, and we get to the end milling and resurfacing limits at mile marker 32.5. Next slide.
All righty, Ray. Well, thank you very much for the presentation, and thank you, Hans, for the presentation. And now I'd like to bring in all of our team back up to speed here, as we're going to have our Q&A portion. Now, you can submit your comments in the question box. We've received some of the questions already. We appreciate that, but you can go ahead and keep doing it as we're about to enter the Q&A portion. Also, after addressing comments in the question box, we will open up the microphones. If we aren't able to answer your question, we will provide it via written response after the meeting. Now, if you would like to speak, please press the virtual raise your hand button. It's located on your control panel right on the right side of your screen. You'll have about 3 minutes to provide comments and questions. Now, staff will be available to answer questions in the order that they are received and as time permits. If your question is not responded to during the event, a response will be provided in writing following the meeting. Now, I'd like to bring to your attention once again that the presentation is available on our project page, which you can scan right now, your phone, scan the QR code. Also, you can shoot me an email at roman@iscprgroup.com. For more information on other projects in Miami-Dade or Monroe County, you can visit fdotmiamidade.com. You can also give me a call, 786-519-7160. You can reach me there if you have any other questions regarding this project. So with that said, team, I am going to welcome in some questions. If you'd like to speak, I'd like to go ahead and open up the mics. You can just press on the raise your hand button. There's a virtual raise your hand button. Click on that, and then I will open up the microphones to let you in. Now, we do have one question here, and in fact, I would like to see if she's available via line, because it's a little grammatically incorrect here, but Ms. Vivian Beck, if you hear me, Ms. Vivian Beck, thank you very much. 1 second here. We're opening the lines. Okay, no. We're opening the lines there, Ms. Vivian. Having some issues there. Well, in the meantime, she is with the Key Deer Protection Alliance team. And as I try to open up her microphone, this Ms. Vivian, when I give you the right to open up the microphone, don't press anything. It should automatically open it up for you, but you should see it on your screen. But her question, and I'd like to see if we could open it up so she can elaborate a little bit here. I am checking on new signs, especially coming into on the south side. The sign now has no flashing signals like the other end northbound. Also, the deer signage should say Key Deer to mile marker 20. Team, did you get that question? She wants to know the status about that signage, mile marker 20.
Is that within our, which project is that?
This is actually, no, this is not within our project. This is mile marker 20. So this will be, actually this will be, maybe our environmental team could assist with this, mile marker 20. Yes, thank you, Mr. James.
Sure. Good evening, Ms. Beck. We did receive your email. We are currently reviewing some of the information that you provided in your email and comparing it to the Key Deer signage project plans that we have. So we have a separate project which is not included in the meeting this evening. So we would like to follow up with you separately on some of your questions and relative to the separate project that is, I think we commonly refer to it as the Key Deer signage project. That project is being implemented through a fast response contract. So it's a separate contract, it's a separate office and a separate team of folks that are working on that project. And I apologize, I don't have all the answers for you this evening. However, I can share with you that we just received the 100% plans for that project. And we've now, since we've received those plans, we're trying to compare what we have in the plans to what your email request had. And we will be happy to respond to you separately on that with that information. I'm sorry I don't have that for you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James, appreciate it. So we'll go ahead here. Once again, if you can click on the raise your hand button to let you in to speak. Once again, if I click on the button, it should automatically open it up for you. We're going to welcome in Ms. Kristen Lemingood. She is actually the PIO for Monroe County. Kristen, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Rodolfo. I'm actually
How are you?
speaking not on behalf of being a PIO, but being a Big Piney resident.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you. Hey, so before the hurricane, Key Deer used to get on that part of US 1 on Big Pine Key a lot. And I'm just wondering, and I don't know for a fact because I haven't gone over there and looked at it, but is there a grate that runs along where the gate is that allows people to go fishing on Spanish Harbor Bridge? Because I feel like people go fishing in that area and accidentally leave that gate open, and then the Key Deer are sneaking out through that gate, and we're getting on US 1. Now this was pre Hurricane Irma, so there might be a gate there. I mean, a grate in that area now, but since you guys are doing great work, I just thought it would seem like a good question to ask, considering that was an issue.
Where is that located, Ms. Kristen?
So it's right by the Spanish Harbor Bridge. So it's across from the Big Pine Key fishing camp. So it's on that long stretch right before you get to Spanish Harbor Bridge. And there's this little gate there that allows people to access the I guess the bridge, the walkway bridge, the fishing bridge, the Spanish Harbor like side bridge basically. And I think at least at one point, people were accidentally leaving it open and it didn't have like an automatic shut on it. And Key Deer were getting onto the road and then getting stuck on the roadside and not able to get off the road.
I'm not sure that that's within our limits. Hans, is it within your limits?
Yeah, is that Hans?
I believe that's within the exception of the project, in between Ray's and my project.
Okay, because we do have a little gap, a small gap between the two segments. But let's check to see which one, I guess it's closest to. And maybe that's a good question that we can bring back to our maintenance office to see whether that gate is still there, like Kristen mentioned, and if it is does it exist? And then if so, is it within any of our two project limits? And if
Thank you, guys.
if it's not within the limits, then perhaps it's something, a concern that we can pass along to Rodolfo. You can pass that along to maintenance.
Yep.
And see if there's something they can do about the gate. Or at least put them in contact with Kristen.
What I'll do, Kristen, is I'll shoot you an email so you could let me know exactly the gate, or I'll look it up and you can confirm, and then we could just take it from there. I'll pass it to the team, and if it's not the team, then I'll pass it to maintenance or the proper department.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Oh, we're good. Alrighty. So we're now going to, I'd like to just bring up here the slide in case you can know how it works when opening up the microphones. Again, it's located right there in your control panel. You just got to click on the raise your hand button and just click on the unmute when we open up the microphone there for you. Now, I'm going to bring in now Miss Valerie. I know she wanted to speak. Miss Valerie, can you hear us there? Once again, once you get the okay, all you got to do is just unmute yourself, as stated on the slide. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
We got it. Hello, Miss Valerie.
Hi.
All righty, how are you? We got it.
Thank you
How
so
are you?
much.
Welcome. Yes, ma'am. You have a question for our team?
Thank you so much for, yes, thank you so much for having us and giving us this opportunity to learn more about the design project and to hear any concerns that we may have. mainly I want to say thank you so much for putting the gravel in front of St. Peter Church to help mitigate the deer attracting grass there. I know the intention is mostly to pave that area, and what your plan is excellent, and I so look forward to that extra pavement there. I think it's fantastic. I do have one question about the deer grates. On grate number 2, is it possible to consider what you call the joint or the seam to be also on that longitudinal attitude for not having so many of those seams from that private area towards US 1, because the seams themselves are sort of the easier opportunity for the deer to walk over those seams because there's so much metal material there. And like you're doing for the bicyclists and the pedestrians by changing the seam to the, I guess I can't remember if that means like the long way. I'm just wondering if that, since bicyclists will not be going over grate number 2 anymore, can we do the same thing on that one, but the other way, so that deer coming off of the private property thinking about going on to US 1 have less of a chance?
Rodolfo, can you scroll to the slide that shows
Yeah.
the grates? That way, maybe it's a
Yep.
better visual so we can
Give me a
better
second here.
understand the question.
Yeah,
So we've
I know.
got
grate
one right
number
here?
2.
or the
Not
other
that
one?
one, no, the
Okay,
other
there
one.
we go.
You've got those long paths, which is good. And so on this one, where the person's private driveway is, can those also be turned the other way and be on the long axis instead of the seams being so many of them, like in the same thing, but the other way for this driveway? Yeah, see how they're going up and down towards the driveway, all those seams? Is it possible that you can do the same thing there and turn them the other way, so that, because the weak or one of the bad parts of the grates that you're using right now is the seam itself is a lot of material. There's 2 pieces of metal sitting together, and it makes it easier, is kind of an easier access for the deer to walk over those seams. So there's more seams being presented to the deer trying to enter US 1. If they were turned the other way, there would be, I guess, less. And I guess also, since you're doing this, since you're doing this project, is there any opportunity to take a look at potentially changing this deer grate material to one that has even a slightly larger holes in them, to help decrease the chance of the bigger bucks that now are documented as having not a whole lot of trouble walking over this, which does work very well except for those larger bucks?
We did receive your email and the video, which thank you for sending the video, Ms. Valerie. And we'll look into using the grates with the bigger spacing, the bigger like holes. We'll look into that and see what our options are. As far as the way that the panels are facing, I'm not sure how much we'll be able to play around with that, but we'll take a look and see what could be done. I think it might be easier to look into, or a better option to look into the bigger holes versus changing the panels, because otherwise they may not fit the way we need them to. But we'll take a look. We'll take your comments, and thank you for sending that video. That was very helpful to see the large buck crossing through there.
And I completely appreciate that. Thank you so much for considering the larger hole grates. And my last question relates to the question that Vivian asked that you said is not part of the project. On the flyer, you do mention that you're going to upgrade signs. does that not include any of those deer signs within the, whatever it is, 33.2 to, or whatever it is, on the Big Pine Key? Does it include what she's talking about, the sign that says, deer for the next 3.5 miles, when that sign really should say the next 17 miles?
Are you asking about one sign in particular, or just in general, like signage
Yes.
for the deer in general?
No, not the general sign project. Just the signs right there within the project that you're designing right now.
Mhm.
That on the flyer, it says, upgrade those and fix those. Will the signs for the key deer for this project that you're presenting today, are those included in that, or is that totally separated out with the other larger scale sign project for the deer that goes all the way from mile marker 16 to 33? Are you separating that out of this project?
Ray, you wanna answer, see which signs are being replaced as part of this, as part of your project?
Yeah, so Ms. Valerie, I pulled up Google Earth real quick to see where that sign that you were referring to, which is 3.5 miles with a flashing beacon. That sign sits within the 4-lane section that's divided. That is the same section that Hans mentioned was not part of either his project limits or our project limits. Stephen did mention that there is a larger project that is addressing signage. I can't really tell you if that particular sign is being addressed as part of that project, but it is something that I think we can definitely get back to you on.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate all of this.
Thank you very much. Alrighty. Once again, everyone, if you'd like to speak.
Sorry, if I
Go
could.
ahead. Go right ahead.
Maybe try and help clarify a little bit that the projects that are being presented this evening do not have any upgrades to key deer signage. Correct me if I'm wrong, Raymond, but I think that's an accurate statement that the project presented tonight does not have any key deer signage included in it, upgrades or changes to any of the key deer signage.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you, Craig. And maybe that's a better explanation. The only signs that are being replaced, the majority are not related to key deers. And if they are, the only ones that are being impacted, the only signs that are being replaced is those being impacted directly by the construction. But as far as that's what that other signage project, that's what they're looking at, is more of a more like global, if you will, signage effort for specifically for the keys and the deer in the keys. So we're not upgrading any of those any signs related to deer within these signs.
Wonderful.
Understood. And again, thank you very much for your expertise and for this opportunity to discuss it. And that was a very good presentation on the project. Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Valerie.
Thank you. I have one question and 1 second. Basically, Ms. Vivian Beck was just thanking us for the presentation, and Representative Holly Roshan said she started this key deer signage. That's just her comment that she stated. Once again, if you'd like to speak, you could just click on the virtual raise your hand, and we can open up the microphone. We can let you in. I know Ms. Vivian wanted to speak. Let's see if it's working now on her end. Once again, you can submit your questions as well on the question box. Okay, Ms. Vivian. Okay, there we go. We got you now. Hello, Ms. Vivian. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you very much. She's with the Deer Alliance, correct?
Yes, I am. Key Deer Protection Alliance.
Key Deer Protection. There you go. Thank you.
I do appreciate Stephen James telling us that he will get back to us. I'm sure Valerie would appreciate it, sending us an email letting us know what the status of the signage is. We had asked several years ago, and Holly Rashan at the time was our state representative, and put in motion to get some updated signage. We did get a sign at the end, and that's what I was talking about. As you come into Big Pine Key on the south side, the sign was put up at the marina as you drive down to the boat ramp. It really is not visible there. The sign on the other end as you are heading north does have the flashing signs that says you're entering an endangered species area and key deer, and it is flashing. That sign really needs to be updated because the southbound lane is heading to Key West, and everyone's in a hurry to get to Key West and pass through. I think that's a critical sign. As Valerie brought up, and that's what I was trying to put in my question, the key deer were relocated several years ago, clear down the road. So we have had key deer killed to mile marker 20. That's actually a liability for Monroe County, and that's not only for the deer, obviously, that's my concern, but I'm sure there's been several car accidents where we wonder why people went into the mangroves for no apparent reason, and was probably to avoid a key deer. I do appreciate that. I appreciate this presentation. It was very good. I appreciate the update on the key deer breaks, that you're taking the key deer into consideration. And we look forward to further communication on the signage. And that's really all I have to say. I appreciate this. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. So once again, if you'd like to speak to us, you can just click on your virtual raising the hand button there, or you can submit your questions, and we can just read it here to the team. As of right now, team, we will be on until 7 p.m. at 6:17 p.m. But we will be remaining here until 7 p.m. Once again, I'd like to open up the floor here to the members of the public who would like to have any comments, any questions. You can do so. You can speak to us, just click on the raise your hand button, or you can just write your question on the question box. Let me once again just pull up the screen where you can obtain this presentation. You can just simply grab your cell phones right now. Let me just zoom in to make sure you guys are able to get it there clearly. Just click on that QR code there, put on your cell phone, and your camera should just obtain it right there and then. Let's see, team, if we have any other questions from the public, or if anyone would like to speak. Miss Vivian still has her hand up. I think she just needs to take it out, but I'll just open up to see. Miss Vivian, did you have a follow-up question, or you're okay?
I'm good. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay. All righty. Okay. All right. As of right now, we don't have any more who would like to speak or have any in the comments. Oh, we have one more. Wait a minute. Okay, this one comes from Priscilla Clogas. And team, she wants to know, will these improvements happen during off-peak hours? So let me just pull up what to expect here. This is helpful right here. Team, again, will these improvements happen during off-peak hour? I guess this could go for anyone on the team. I'd like to answer this one.
Raymond?
Sure. Thank you for your question. Yes, as we stated in the beginning of the presentation, the improvements and construction activities are going to take place only during off-peak hours. And this applies to both segments.
There's pretty much a good understanding of the times. Thank you, Hans. Okay. Once again, if you'd like to share any comments or questions, you can submit it. We have another one from Ms. Priscilla again. Ms. Priscilla wants to know, we have a major issue with the traffic light on I don't, maybe she can clarify this. BPK light with
Big
traffic
Pine Key.
congestion. There we go. Big Pine Key. Light with traffic congestion on this roadway that backs up to the bridge at times. Once again, we have a major issue with the traffic light on Big Pine Key with traffic congestion on this roadway. Team?
You have a
Oh, yeah,
road plot or where,
Yeah, I would have to pull up,
Take it on.
if you give me a second, I can pull up the Google Earth.
or just pull up the road plot so we can see where
Okay.
the,
That works. Hold on.
I
The road
believe
plot
that's
won't
after
show
your
the
limits, right?
synchronized intersection.
Yeah, I don't think we
Wanna
have
show
it
it?
here.
No,
No.
it's further in the south.
Further,
Further
yeah,
south.
further in. Give me a second. Let's see if we can pull up the Google Earth, everyone. And we could pull up Big Pine Key.
Ray, is it within your limits?
No, it's approximately, and I'm measuring right now. It's about 1 mile away, 1 mile in the southbound direction. It's Chapman Street, Deer Boulevard, Wilder Road.
So with that said, team, then I can go ahead and send that to traffic operations.
Yeah.
That was Chapman, right, Ray?
Yes, sir. Chapman Street.
Ms. Priscilla will send your concern to traffic operations office, which, and they will look further into it, into your concern, the concern that you've expressed or question or concern.
The light is east on the project, all right? Yep. Wonderful, yep. Thank you, Fabiana. Okay, team, we'll see if we have any more other questions here from the public. Once again, you can write in your comments in the question box, or you can simply click on the raise your hand button. No? Okay. With that being said, I guess that's pretty much it. We don't have any questions for the time being. We will remain until 7 p.m. We still got some time. The presentation is available on the link that you see right there on your screen. You can also click on the QR code. I'm just gonna expand it here for everyone. You can just simply grab your phone and through the camera application, it would scan it and take you to the project page itself. With that being said, team, we don't have any questions. We don't have any comments. We will remain until 7 p.m. So if anyone else from the public has a question later on, feel free to submit it here, and we will respond it to you as soon as we can. But again, we will remain here until 7 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you everyone for joining us once again. You can obtain the presentation for this evening on our project website, fdutmiami.com. You can obtain the presentation and you can see the entire public meeting. The video will be available tomorrow. You can see the entire public meeting in its entirety. If you have any other questions, any follow-ups, feel free to submit it on our comment box, or you can simply click on your virtual raise your hand button. Thank you. We will remain here until 7 p.m. Okay, team, if I could have everyone, we have one more question here from Ms. Priscilla Clogas. Okay, thank you. This question again, it comes from Ms. Priscilla. She wants to see, I see this project includes pedestrian improvements by the boat ramp, upgrading pedestrian ramps, crosswalk, markings at mid-block, crosswalk at boat ramp entrance, just east of Spanish Harbor Channel. What additional improvements will be added to this area? Currently, a brand new pedestrian crossing hawk type system has been added for pedestrians to cross US 1. Team?
Yes, good evening, Ms. Priscilla. Thank you for your question. That is correct. Our project is gonna include new high emphasis pedestrian crosswalks at that same location where right now there's a crosswalk, and new or recently installed flashing beacons are gonna remain in place, and we're upgrading all the signage around that area. But aside of those improvements that were listed in the presentation, we don't anticipate any additional.
Thank you, Hans. Once again, if any members from the public would like to ask a question or provide a comment, please feel free to write it on the comment box, or you can simply click on the raise your hand button right there in your control panel. All right, team, that's we just had that one question from Priscilla. Thank you very much, everyone. Again, we will be here until 7 p.m. If you have any questions, feel free to write it down, or you can just simply click on the raise your hand button virtually. Thank you. Again, everyone, thank you for joining us at our virtual public meeting for the roadway project on Big Pine Key and West Summerland Key. If you have any questions, feel free to click on the raise your hand button, or you can submit it through the question box. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We'll remain until 7 p.m. We have 10 minutes. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to write it on the question box, or you can simply click on the raise your hand button and we will answer your question and or comment. Once again, we'll be here until 7 p.m. We have 10 more minutes. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Once again, friendly reminder, we will be on until 7 p.m. You have about 5 minutes. If you have any final comments or questions, you can either submit it through the comment box, or you can click on your raise the hand button, the virtual raise your hand button, and our team will answer or provide information regarding your question or comment. Once again, we'll be on until 7 p.m. 5 minutes left. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for our public meeting for the roadway projects located on mile marker 31.4 to mile marker 32.5 and mile marker 32.98 to mile marker 36.57. Both of these projects are currently in design, and they're located in the Big Pine Key area and West Summerland and Scout Key area. The presentation is available on our project page, which you can see on your screen now. The recording for this entire meeting will be available tomorrow as well on the project page. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email at roman@iscprgroup.com, or you can call me at 786-519-7160. Thank you very much, and this now concludes the public meeting for both of these roadway projects. Thank you, and have a great evening.